In this session, we take the next step. You've already learned how to recognize when God is working in someone's life. Now, Jesus is going to show us how to share our faith naturally, not through forced conversations, but in a way that feels real, honest, and personal. For many people, sharing faith feels difficult. They worry they'll say something wrong or they don't have a powerful enough story. But if Jesus is part of your life, you don't need a script. You just need to speak as if he is real, because he is. In today's first video, Jesus will teach us how to bring him into everyday conversations, not as a debate, not as an argument, but as a natural part of our lives. He will show us that sharing faith is not about making a speech. It's simply letting people see the relationships we already have with him. Before we begin, let's quiet our hearts. Jesus is right here. He's ready to speak to you. Jesus, open our hearts, our minds, our ears. Help us to hear, truly hear you, as if we are the only person in the room and you are speaking directly with us. Help us see that sharing does not have to be complicated. It just has to be real. We invite you into this moment. Speak to us now. Let us begin. In the first letter Peter wrote, I gave him these words. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have, but do this with gentleness and respect. My other self, I'm with you always, but do the people around you know that? Do they see it in the way you live, and do they hear it in the way you speak? You talk about things that matter to you. You talk about your family, your work, your favorite places, your daily struggles. You mention them in passing without thinking, but do you talk about me the same way? Many of my disciples struggle with this, not because they are ashamed of me, but because they do not know how to bring me into a conversation without making it feel forced or unnatural. But if I'm part of your life, why should speaking about me feel any different than speaking about any other friend? You don't have to force conversations about me. You only have to let me be part of your life and then speak of me as if I am real, because I am. Now, why do you struggle? Well, some hesitate to mention me because they're afraid how people will react. Others fear they will not know what to say. And some feel like you don't have a dramatic enough story. And so you say nothing at all. But speaking about me is not about perfect words. It's not about knowing every answer. It's about, well, it's certainly not about forcing deep conversation. It's about speaking simply and truthfully, just as you would about anyone else you know. If I'm real, let them know that I am real by your words. So let me show you how this works. Imagine someone asks you, you seem in a good mood today. What's up? You could say, oh, nothing much, and just let the moment pass. Or you could say, oh, I had 2 cups of coffee with Jesus this morning. I'm doing good. You don't need to explain anything unless they ask. But you have let them see something, that I am part of your life. Another example. So imagine you're at the store and someone says, picking up something for the wife, and you have flowers in your cart. You could smile and say, yeah, just thought she deserved them. Or you could say, yeah, I walked past them and Jesus nudged me and said, you know, she deserves this. Figured I better listen to Jesus. Again, you're not preaching, you're not forcing a conversation, just simply letting them know that you see me as real. And if you live your life with me, these moments will come, but you must be willing to speak when they do. When you talk about a friend, you don't try to convince people they exist. You don't need a perfect story to bring them up. You just mention them naturally. You might say, John recommended this restaurant, so I thought I'd try it. Or Sarah and I were just talking about this the other day. In the same way, you can say, Jesus and I were talking about this. This reminds me of something Jesus said. When people speak about me this way, other people hear it. Some will ignore it, some will think about it, and some will ask you more. But if you never mention me, you might not know someone's searching. So if people are curious, some of them are going to ask you questions when you talk about me like that. They'll ask, wait, what do you mean by that? Or, so you actually pray about that, those things. Really? When they do that, do not be afraid. Just speak truthfully as if you were talking about any other part of your life. You could say, yeah, I pray about all kinds of things, big and small. Or, yeah, Jesus is part of my life, so I talk to him every day. You don't need to explain everything. Just answer simply and honestly. If they want to hear more, let them ask. Some of you struggle to talk about me because you do not think of me this way. You believe in me, but I'm not yet woven into your daily life. And this is why I've invited you to spend time with me each morning to review your life and each week to reflect on what I've done in your life. If you're walking with me daily, you'll always have something to say. But if you're distant from me, if I'm not part of your thoughts and your prayers and your daily moments, then of course it'll feel unnatural to speak about me because I'm not yet real in that way to you. If you want to talk about me, then walk with me. If you want to share what I've done, then take the time to notice what I'm doing. It's not about forcing conversations, it's about being real, about me being real to you so that when the time comes, you don't have to search for the right words. You'll have them. My other self, if you let me be part of your life, speaking about me will be natural. You'll not have to force it. You'll not have to plan for it. You'll only have to speak honestly. You don't have to convince anyone. You don't have to give a perfect testimony. You only need to be willing to let people see that I am real to you. Now, in the next video, I'll show you how to share more, not just small moments, but stories of what I've done in your life. But before you can tell those stories, you must first live with me daily. If you do, speaking about me will not be difficult. It'll feel as natural as talking about a friend. Think about this before we continue. How real am I in your daily life? If I'm not part of your ordinary moments, how can I become part of them? Because the more real I am to you, the easier it will be to speak of me when the time comes. Think about that. Write in your journal. And when you're ready, go on to the next video.